this over to Jeff. We're very fortunate to have him jump on today. This session is not going to be training how to facilitate a SOLE or how to run a SOLE. If you're interested in that, please reach out. I know there's some STEM POC groups or leads on here as well, so we can help you with training you how to facilitate. But now it's how do you facilitate a SOLE virtually. So Jeff, I'm going to turn it over to you and you can take it away.
Thanks, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. Again, I was introducing myself to many of you kind of informally before we started, but as Rebecca said, the purpose of this session is to kind of introduce you to a feature that we've added to our platform to help people that are now, in a much different classroom environment than you were when we started working with you on SOLE back in August or September. And I want to start by saying that for some of you, you may be you're all working from home now, I assume, but you're working from home. You have kids that are taking classes at home with you. You have classes that you're trying to facilitate virtually with some kids that have computers, some kids that don't have computers, some kids that have access to the internet, some kids that don't have access to the internet. There's a lot going on in all of our lives right now. And I don't want to just jump in and say, here's a tool that you can use without you understanding that I know that the reality of your situation, there's things that are a lot more important than what I'm about to talk to you about now. But also, having said that, I think there's an opportunity that in the situation that we're in, there's an opportunity to actually push ourselves a little bit and try to find ways to create these synchronous experiences with our students in addition to all the other things that we're doing. So having said that, we're building off of a platform, and some of you know what StartSOLE is already, but we received support from Judd Pittman and Pennsylvania to make this platform available to every teacher in Pennsylvania, with the idea being that it's a STEM strategy that you can incorporate into your classroom, and it doesn't require a lot of resources to implement. So it's pretty much accessible to any teacher anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania. Having said that, as soon as you closed the doors on your classroom and headed home, and all your students headed home, then the question becomes, how do you recreate these types of environments in the virtual world? And so you're doing two types of things right now. You're doing asynchronous connecting, and or some of you are doing synchronous. This strategy is really a synchronous strategy. So if you're trying to convene your students, or we're doing PD like we are now, or anything like that, with people in time together, then this is something that you could potentially consider using. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, hopefully. Can you see my screen now? Great. So what we have for you is the website is just startsole.org, and you still you enter into this the same way that you would the website prior to, what I do? Spelled it wrong. So you enter the website. If you're new to StartSOLE, you'll have to create an account, but if you already have an account, you just log into your account, and then you'll now see this blue button on the side of the screen here that says Virtual SOLE. There's several ways to start a Virtual SOLE. The easiest way is to just click the blue button. If I click the blue button, it's going to give me a little introductory statement here, and then it's going to give me a couple options. A Virtual SOLE, just like a face-to-face SOLE, leads with a question. So you have to have a question to start your Virtual SOLE. You can go in and explore the existing questions through your content standards, just like you would have to plan a face-to-face SOLE. And when you're in Pennsylvania, when you log on, the standards that you see are the Pennsylvania standards. So you can actually go in and say, mine are going to look different because I'm in Ohio right now, but I'm going to go in, I'm going to say Science K-8. I'm going to pick my grade. And I can drill all the way into my standards. And as I do that, the list of questions shrinks around the standards. So let's just say, like, I like this question, why cats purr, or do all animals communicate? I click the question, and now what you'll see is there's another button here. I'm trying to move my, I don't know if is my camera, like the view of your images, right in the middle of the screen for you, or is it just for me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, you're good. So I click the virtual SOLE button. Now the question pulls in just like it would if I was creating a lesson, and then I hit set up virtual SOLE. So when I click virtual SOLE setup, now I get a link. I take this link, and however you're like letting your students know that you're starting this session, this is the link that they need to get. Either you're going to email it to them, or you're going to put it in Google Classroom, or you're going to do whatever it is, however you're communicating with your students. I can just highlight it and click and copy it, or I can hit the little copy icon here. Now it's copied to my clipboard, and I can just paste it wherever I need to paste it. Okay. The next thing you can do is you can go into settings here, and before you even click get started, you can click on settings, and you can say if you want the moderator, which is you, to approve all the participants before they come in. So, you know, even if you have a private link that you're sending, the link to people that you don't want to be in the call. So if you click this, then you have control over who gets in. You can also disable the private chat function, which if you don't disable it, then kids can talk to each other and you don't see it, which maybe you're okay with that, maybe you're not. But if you want to kind of control the environment more, you can disable the private chat, and you can disable the shared notes section also if you want. So I'm just going to leave them all unchecked for now, and then I hit get started. And when I hit get started, this is going to be weird because it's another virtual platform, and I'm demonstrating it through a virtual platform, so I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen here, but I'm gonna go ahead and start.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Okay, so now I'm in this conference, okay, and here's the question that I'd added, and here's a quick little slide for students when they get started. It auto-generates like a 4-slide slideshow for you to just help you kind of organize the time. This one just says, while we're waiting for others to join, please start researching our big question and posting any useful resources in the shared sections. Can everybody see this okay on your screen still? Okay, great. So you'll see there's public chat over here. There's also a shared notes section where if I open this up, we can all like type notes in together. And then I have some other functionality built into this. And when we were looking at options for this, we looked at a lot of things. And one of the things that was appealing about the option that we have, I can't move here we go. I can't move my little, on my screen, I'm seeing 4 of you, and it's getting in the way of the buttons that I'm trying to click. I'm gonna just minimize it. Okay, so I can share an external video. So if I click on this, I can actually upload a video right into this presentation, and I can share it for everyone who's in the session. I can upload a presentation, and I upload the presentation, and then it gives us the ability, we can all annotate and draw or mark right on the presentation simultaneously. I can also run a poll. So if I click start a poll, I can type in a question in any of these formats here and present the question to everybody that's in the meeting. And when I do that, it goes out, everybody clicks there, and then when I click publish the results in the screen, it just shows up what the results for the meeting are. So there's some, you know, interesting kind of like interactive features that kind of help recreate like the educational environment. But the biggest thing in here is this next feature that I'm going to show you, which is if I click on this gear, I can actually create breakout rooms right from the session. So imagine that your students are all on this site right now, and we have 25 names here on this list. I can tell it that I want to create 7 rooms. I can say I want to give it 15 minutes to, you know, when they're in their rooms. And then all I do is I drag the names and drop them into the different rooms. I can also randomly assign them to rooms. if I want to do that, or I can drag and drop them. But that actually gives you the opportunity to essentially recreate that the SOLE environment where I present a big question. I have students in breakout groups, and then as the moderator, I can go in and out of each one of the breakout groups and kind of see what's going on. And then I can pull the breakout groups all back together and summarize the learning that's taken place during the session. So, I mean, that's a very quick kind of overview of the tool, the way that it's set up. In the next week, we're also adding the lesson plan component, so you'll be able to actually like go in and plan a virtual lesson. Right now, if you do the lesson plan, it's still set up to do the lesson plan. Let's see, sorry. Still to do the face-to-face lesson plan, but eventually you'll be able to actually like plan a virtual lesson right through the tool also. So Rebecca, that's really fast. I see some things coming into the chat. I haven't clicked on it. Are those questions, or how do you want to?
Yeah, so at this point, Scott, why don't we open up, I think we can open up all the mutes or turn off. So
Yep.
anyone ask the questions. We have some questions in here from Lexi and Meg and Ashley. So if you want to answer that, Lexi asked, is the shared notes feature on or off? So Lex, if you want to add in right there, you can ask your question and you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, Jeff, I had a question because I know you went through the settings at the beginning about how you could make people get moderator has to approve and all those checkboxes you were turning on and off to kind of show us all the features that you had at the very beginning there. One of the questions that I had was the shared notes feature, because everybody can kind of create that notes section. Are those options for us either on or off at this point? So either as a moderator, I'm either turning the shared notes off, the feature off, or I'm turning it on, or is there other ways in which I can set the settings for something like that?
You mean like, can you give certain people priority permission and other people not permission?
That would be one option. Also, if I had students that were in the breakout rooms, could they each get a shared notes feature for each breakout room that they could kind of use as kind of their virtual big piece of paper or their virtual whiteboard to put their information down?
That's exactly how the breakout sessions work. Each one of them is like it almost like creates an own little mini meeting room with all the functionality of the meeting room that you had. Now, the one thing that the shared notes, the reason why I kind of like picked on that one and said either on or off, one of the things to just be aware of if you use this is the shared notes don't carry back over into the big room if they use the shared notes in the breakout room. So, you know, we're kind of encouraging people to either like, there's a button that says export shared notes. And if you click on it, it gives you like the text, and then they can re-put the text back into the shared notes in the other room. But the other thing that some of the teachers that have been using this have been doing is putting a link to like a Google Doc or something right in the shared notes area, and then students just like write right into the Google Doc as opposed to the shared notes. But yes, like when you're in a breakout room, you have the whiteboard capability. You can turn it off so that people can't like play on the whiteboard if you don't want them to. I could go in to a breakout room and let's just call it room 2 and see that they're just playing around on the whiteboard, and I could turn it off for room 2 and not turn it off for room 3. You know, so you can kind of like, if one group is doing better than another with it, you can like manage the breakout groups separately from one another.
Good to know. If I wanted to capture all of those breakout room notes, would I have to go to another tool to grab all of those notes at the end? Like, because these kids are all in the breakout rooms, and obviously as a moderator, I'm monitoring each of the breakout rooms, and I'm kind of seeing what they're putting on the board, like you were mentioning. But is there a way for me to capture all of those whiteboards at some point in the process to have rather than copy and paste it all? Like the kids can copy and paste it all, because when I close the breakout room, obviously that disappears. Does it disappear for me as the moderator as well, or just for the participants?
It disappears in terms of during the session. You can't go back into that breakout room and grab those notes like, you know, at the end. Now you can record, any of these sessions are recordable. And so you could, if you want it, I mean, depending on how you want to use it, you could actually, you know, have the recording of the session. I mean, but I'm not sure, like if you're thinking about wanting to pull it in to your discussion right away, then the best option would be to have them actually, like, instead of using the shared notes the way it is there, just like embedding some other like piece for them to document their notes on.
I'm just thinking like ways to keep records of what happened during that. And so recording the session would obviously be the best, easiest way to do it. But I was just curious about the actual stuff that kids were writing on the
Yeah,
notes.
the other thing you could do if it's, you know, it's archival, you could just take a screenshot of your, you could actually you know, when you're in the breakout room, just take a screenshot or have them take a screenshot and send you the screenshot when they're done. That would be a real easy way too.
Good point. Thanks.
Awesome. Jeff, Ashley is wondering if you can turn off the annotation tools.
Yes. Yeah, you can turn it off. You can even make it so that you're the only one that can annotate on something. Because obviously, like, I know I ran one with a bunch of teachers in Arizona, and by the end of the meeting, we had this really pretty picture drawn that had nothing to do with what we were talking about, because we all played with the annotation tool while we were talking. And you can imagine what kids will do with it too.
Awesome. And a question came in about if you can view the rooms in one place, or is it like Zoom where you jump into the room, come back out?
You have to jump in and out of the rooms. There isn't, at the present time, there isn't somewhere to look at all of them simultaneously. Now this is running off of something called Big Blue Button, which is, that's the like provider. The beautiful thing about this is that the code is open sourced. So we actually are able to like do a lot of like integration with the code into the tools. And so, I mean, that sounds like something that would be interesting to see if we couldn't do something with the code and create something where you could see into all the rooms at once. But at the present time, it doesn't do that. You can go in and actually show up as a participant, or you can go in and listen to what they're doing in the rooms, but you can't be in all of them. I mean, you can have all the rooms open on the top of your screen and easily go back and forth, but you have to click on, you know, the one window to the next to go into each room.
And then Daniel asked, are there any specific file types for uploading a presentation, such as PowerPoint, Google Slides, and so forth?
Yeah, there are, and I won't be able to rattle off all the specific file types from memory, but there are some, you know, there are some files you can use and some that won't upload.
Awesome. Anyone else? You can unmute, you can comment, ask questions. It's open space right now. Maybe you answered all the questions.
No way, that was not a lot of questions. So one of the questions people sometimes say is, how do I get to, how can I use this? I just put startsole.org in the chat. That's the website. Because of the way that because the way we built this and launched it, we didn't just want to like turn this loose to like the whole SOLE community. There's 26,000 people in our community right now. And so if we just gave it to all 26,000 people and they all started using it, that would crash our servers pretty like quickly. And so if you're interested, I'm making it available to Pennsylvania and Ohio to start with. And so because of the relationship that I have with you and all the work that you're doing there, we're gonna open it up to any of you. But right now, if you went there now and got on, you would click that blue button and it would say, tell us that you're interested in using it. So if you do that and you tell us, then my tech person, my team, like they'll give you access. And then very soon, probably by the end of the day today or tomorrow morning, if you're in Pennsylvania and you click that button, you're just going to automatically have access. But we just wanted to make sure that we had enough like server space and bandwidth to start to get it to work for everybody. And right now, we have enough space for 200 people to simultaneously be using it. And by the end of the day tomorrow, we'll have enough space for 1,000 people to be simultaneously using it. And what that means is like 1,000 sessions going on at once, not just 1,000 people that have access. So way more people can have access. We just can't have 1,000 students on it at one time, more than that at one time. And if that hits the limit, like if the demand exceeds where we are, we'll just add more server space. So
it's a good problem to have, right? So many
yeah.
people.
The other thing that I would say is like, don't hesitate to reach out. If you start to use this and you start to play around and you're like, hey, how did you do that? Or how did you do this? Reach out. We'll help you figure out how to get started. Also, there's so many variables when you're in a virtual synchronous environment that can kind of go wrong. Some of them will be our stuff. Some of them will be internet-based. Some of them will be user-based. But whatever it is, like, don't get discouraged. Again, just reach out, and somebody from my team will be happy to like jump on a session with you. Even if you want us to jump on with your students and help co-facilitate at first or something, whatever we can do to help, we're happy to help.
Jeff, when they come in and they present, then do they just come back into the main room and then each group just would present as they would?
Yeah, I mean, you can handle that. When you finish, there's a button that the moderator can hit to close all the breakout rooms. And when that happens, then everybody comes back to the main screen. And so, if you want to stick with kind of like the typical SOLE process, then you just have each group kind of like talk for a minute or two about what they researched and found, or if they found something that they want to share on the screen, have them share it and then just have a discussion. You can really kind of like, experiment with different ways to moderate that group work piece at the end. But yeah, I mean, you can close the breakout rooms and everyone comes back together and then they can share what they did.
And can they only log on through devices, or can they, like in Zoom, you can call in?
Yeah.
Okay. Just for those kids that don't have maybe access at home, maybe they have a landline, they could call in. I know that's
there is a way to do that. I haven't personally played around with that piece yet, but there is, and I'm making a note of that now to make sure that I can answer that question the next time somebody asks me that. And Rebecca, I'll send you the answer so you can put it back out. But yes, I know there's a way to do it. I just don't know what the way to do it is.
Okay, no problem. Any other questions?
Hey Jeff, it's Marcy. What did you tell us we need to click to sign up if we're interested in this? I went to the StartSOLE.org and there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll show you. Just give me a second to figure out how to get back in. Like my drawing?
I do.
Yeah, I was good at art. Okay, so you go here, and then if you already have an account, you just hit login. If you don't, you just hit sign up. But let's assume you already did the login part.
Yeah, I do have that.
Okay. You'll see this blue button over here.
Oh, okay.
You just click the blue button, and then since I'm already signed up, it goes right into the welcome screen. But
okay.
if you do it now, you'll just have to tell us that you want access, and then it'll just have you put some information in and send it to us. Eventually, that part's going to be removed totally for Pennsylvania, and you're just going to go straight to here. But just hit the blue button and follow the directions, and it'll take you right to it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. If there is no further questions, we will stop the recording.